Welcome back to Hyrule, ladies and gentlemen. Breath of the Wild 2 recently got a brand new trailer at E3 2021. Even though we still didn't get a name because it would be a spoiler, there's a lot to take in with this new trailer, and with all of this new material, you already know that theories are going to be running wild. Breath of the Wild. But when it comes to this game's massive overhaul in identity, it looks like we'll be returning to the skies of old, literally, that could potentially harken back to the likes of Skyward Sword. However, with this new expansive sky that we see in Breath of the Wild 2, I've got a huge theory dealing with the potential of time travel that everyone is talking about, but in a way that will get you extremely hyped. So if you're ready for that, let's dive directly back into the skies and enter a new generation of Breath of the Wild 2 theories. Not to beat around the bush, but it seems to me that Link will be traveling through time in Breath of the Wild 2 to an era long forgotten before the events of the game. And I'm not talking about 100 years before, I'm talking more of the likes of 10,000 years before the events of Breath of the Wild. And that should sound familiar because that's along the lines of the events that is told in the tapestry of the Great Calamity. As Link is seen sporting a new green attire, which I think looks really cool on him in the beginning of the trailer, that finally seems a lot more similar to what we see in the tapestry when it comes to the hero that helped beat back the Calamity with the help of Princess Zelda and the Guardians and the Champions. But this attire looks a bit similar to something else in the trailer, which we're going to talk about in a bit. And don't worry, I'm going to talk about that arm too. But let's get one thing out of the way. I believe that Link will be stepping through portals or dimensions that may be scattered throughout Hyrule that will take him to the events or to the time period of 10,000 years before or even prior. These portals could probably act as pocket dimensions that will reveal the islands above the sky. Because throughout the trailer where we see Link on the overworld that's very familiar to us from the original Breath of the Wild, there are no islands in the sky that we can see. And even beyond that, there are really no clouds because in the beautiful set pieces that we see Link walking on these islands, it is on the cascade of beautiful clouds within the sunlight and the night sky. But some of you are probably thinking maybe the islands are so far up in the sky that we just don't see them from the land. Well, in another point of the trailer, we can actually see the Thundra Plateau from the sky looking down onto the earth. So it actually doesn't seem that far up above the ground. So I do believe that you'll be entering portals that will reveal the islands in the air, if not straight up just taking you to the skies of old. And when Link goes into these portals and enters this time of old, he then gains attire of that era, with him having his hair let down and having the new green robes. And this is the potential link to Ganondorf's attire that we see in Breath of the Wild 2's trailers. That this type of clothing was stapled to the era, possibly given and worn by those of importance, such as envoys or people that work for or belong to royal families or factions in power during that time. But if this is Link from Breath of the Wild going to the past 10,000 years or more, why would he gain this specific attire that seems to be closely tied to that of the hero of that era? It is because that is him. That is his past version. That is the Link of that era, and he is literally linking up with his past self. When Link goes into the past, he probably leaves his body behind and has his mind link up with that of his past self, since they both carry the spirit of the hero. And what allows him to do that, to link up and travel to the past, is that arm, the mysterious green arm that he truly does gain from what we see in both of the Breath of the Wild 2 trailers. It is because I believe that arm is truly the arm belonging to the original hero that we saw in the tapestry, that is allowing him to link up between past and future. That is the truth of the connection between these two links, and that could be the identity of this game. Being the link within that of the future, while also linking up with your past self to relive the events and find truths and possibly abilities from the past in order to help you in the future. That's not unheard of in a Zelda game. So with the possibility of entering portals and pocket dimensions of 10,000 years prior to Breath of the Wild, or even beyond that, it may be possible that we can go back to an era that is around the ballpark of Skyward Sword, or even beyond that. It's really a coin flip in the air, or I should say the sky. But like I said before, the point of going into the past is to learn secrets of the past and possibly gain abilities from the past to take to the future. Abilities that you can gain into your arm that is from that era in order to take to the future to solve puzzles and to enter more areas or domains that will move the story along. but can do so in very compartmentalized, segmented areas that could be done in virtually any order akin to that of a Link Between Worlds. And from looking at the architecture of what we see in the sky, it could possibly answer another question. And yes, I know you guys are bracing for it, but it could be possible that these powers, and that, like everyone theorized already, the original Link from 10,000 years prior could have been someone that researched into the Zonai, a Zonai himself, or had Zonai abilities. And these abilities that you gain into your arm could be that of Zonai abilities that are stronger and better than what we see from the Sheikah Slate, that can answer the theory that the Sheikah Slate and their abilities could have been based on that of Zonai technology, as we see a superior version of stasis from the trailer that literally reverses time instead of just freezing it. And if we do gain Zonai abilities from the sky, it could explain why they disappeared, because they literally left. They left to the sky and stayed there, or died out there. And with all this considered, it could be possible that going to the past in these portals can help reenact the prophecy, or literally be the prophecy in what we saw in the tapestry, just an untold side, or a side that was literally lost to time. Gaining the truth on what happened to the Zonai, what happened to Ganondorf, and what truly happened 10,000 years before that of Breath of the Wild, all while playing a new game, a new story still within the future in real time, as the Legend of Zelda series is no secret to that of a dual mirrored setting. And Return to the Skies, once again, from what we saw in Skyward Sword, this could answer a third potential final question: the disappearance and location of the Triforce. As we remember in Skyward Sword, at one point in the earliest chapters of Zelda's history, the Triforce was taken to Skyloft, out of Demise's reach in the sky. So maybe this is where the Triforce has been all of this time. Maybe it got returned to the sky, out of the reach of evil, out of the reach of man. I may even go as far as saying that this could be an interpretation of the Sacred Realm. And traveling to these islands, traveling to the past, can all be an effort in order to try to stop Ganondorf in the future. Maybe because he already won by the time of the beginning of Breath of the Wild 2. Or better yet, it could be a race against time. Every time that you complete a past segment, every time you use a portal that takes you to the past, that takes you to the skies, the castle that is rising out of the ground in Hyrule thanks to the power of Malice gets a little bit higher. And the reason why he's bringing the castle up to the heights, to the skies of Hyrule, is because Ganondorf, or maybe even Demise, is trying to return where he left off to complete his quest for the Triforce, which could be located in the high skies above. And that is why Ganondorf wants to rise the castle up, because he is trying to reach the realm above, the realm of the gods, the sacred realm, to claim the Triforce. Yo, can you imagine if he actually does and then transforms this beautiful skyscape into something that is truly hellish? Honestly, I'm extremely excited to see where this game takes us when it comes to the clouds, when it comes to the lore, and when it comes to the truth and secrets that we did not see unfold in the original Breath of the Wild. And with the possible implications that Skyward Sword can lean into the new Breath of the Wild game, especially since Skyward Sword HD is coming out, I feel that aspects of the Triforce, Ganon, Malice, and more are going to finally be answered in this game. But despite all of that, I feel that the Zonai are going to play an extremely significant role in this game, considering that not only we have the color, the architecture, but in one shot of the trailer we see Link using a shield-like item that seems to be a Zonai dragon head, even with the green color and all, as a flamethrower against a weird enemy. So there's that to consider, but that's for a theory and analysis for another time. Until then, let me know what you guys think about this theory in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, share, and most importantly subscribe to HMK while hitting that bell to know when my theories go live, because Zelda hype is back on the menu, my friends. Big thanks to my Patreon supporters for help making this video happen. If you want to find out how you can support HMK for just $1 a month, check out my info in the description box below, as well as my reaction to the E3 2021 trailer. Alright guys, excitement abounds and you know when and where to get hype with your boy HMK. So until the next video, this has been HMK, and I'll check you guys later.